If you're new to Notion and are wondering how to get started, well, in this video, I'm going to be walking you through 10 of the most powerful features in Notion that you can use to build your own system. So I hope you stick to the end because I've also got a little bonus feature for you. So let's start with the basics. Unlike most of the other productivity apps on the market, Notion isn't designed just to solve one problem, but is rather an all-in-one app for note-taking, knowledge and data management, project and task management. It seamlessly integrates databases, Kanban views, tasks, calendars, timelines, and reminders to give you all the flexibility you could possibly ever need for you to design your own productivity system. In other words, you literally have thousands of options on how you can set up your system and get organized. And I'll put all the timestamps in the description below so you can skip ahead at any point. So let's get started. So the very first thing we're going to go through is using the text editor in Notion. This text editor is quite powerful because it allows you to manipulate the same text in multiple different ways. All you have to do is press the / and then select the text editor and you're good to go. If you're interested in finding out more about how to use the text editor, then I'll put a link in the description below where I walk through that in much more detail. So let's start off with the next feature. Up next, we're going to be going through how to set up a to-do list. So I've just created a heading using the text block. Now I'm going to select the to-do block. So on my to-do list, I'm going to put down 2 books that I want to read, and for the second book I want to be able to paste a link to the book, so when I do get down to it I can easily click on the link and be able to download the book. The next thing I want to be able to do is change the background color for the heading so that it stands out a little bit more. So I've just selected it, and now if you look through the menus list, click on the 3 dots, you can see there's a color option there, and then you can choose to either change the color of the text to any one of these colors, or you can change the color of the background that the text is on. So in this case I've chosen to change the background color. So now we're going to select the whole section and we're going to duplicate that, because rather than creating this from scratch and putting it side by side, it was so much easier just to be able to duplicate and drag the whole selection to the right hand side. As you can see, sometimes some of the blocks don't line up, so what you do is the ones that are left behind, you highlight them and you simply pick and drop, you drag and drop them into place. So we want to create one more section, so we'll duplicate this section again and then we'll drag it to the right hand side, so it gives us that sort of 3-column look that we're going for in this particular case. Now we can go back and edit the text to make it more relevant for each of the columns. So in this case we're going to have the middle column as being the doing column, so that's the list that I'm working on at the moment. So let's just go ahead and edit that. So in this case I want to get rid of the link to the book because that's not relevant for running the unit test, so we're just going to highlight that and we're going to delete that block. Next thing we're going to do is duplicate that, and then we're going to drag it underneath the second checkbox, and as you can see it's created this indentation. So we're going to go ahead and edit the text again, and then you simply press enter and it creates another checkbox, so you can go ahead and change. So that second column is looking good. The only thing left to do is change the background color of the heading in this case. So that looks good. Now we'll go ahead and edit the final column in order to be able to create this weekly task to-do list. Go ahead and edit the checkboxes now very quickly and delete the box as well. If you want, you can change the size of each of those columns, but in this case I'm going to leave them as they are. So that was a very quick way of creating a weekly task list. If you want to find out more about how to create weekly task lists, then I'll put a link in the description below about a detailed video that I've done that walks through more of the features. So the next thing that we're going to be going through is how to create a team homepage in Notion. So the first step in creating that is to create your sections that you want to turn into pages. So we'll create a team subheading, and then we'll list out the pages underneath. And then to make it look a little bit neater, we've pressed the / and selected the divide block. And as you can see, it's created this line that separates the heading from the pages below. And just for quickness of time, again, we'll use a duplicate feature, drag it to the side, and then drag the elements underneath. So it's created that neat 2-column look that we're going for. Okay, and what we can do now is select all of those sections and click on the section and turn into page. And as you can see, it's turned all of those text blocks into pages of their own. What we can do now is, to make them look a little bit neater, is change the icon. It might seem trivial at first, but actually the emojis allow you to quickly glance across the page and be able to use those visual clues to help speed up your workflow. So let's go ahead and give each of these pages an icon for themselves. So a quick way of finding the icon that you want is just click on the search bar and start typing calendars. And in this case, we'll select that particular option. The next feature we're going to be walking through is databases. So we'll create another section in our Notion page. We'll rename the heading. So in order to create a database, you do / and then you start typing database, and then you'll see there's a number of options that appear. So we're going to be selecting the table inline database. So as you can see, it creates a table database for us. You can give it a name, and then you can change the view as well. But in this case, we'll change the name to table. So it's giving us an option to save it as another view, but in this case, I'm not going to create another view because this one's already a table view, but we'll cover off the other ones shortly. So what we want to do is, depending on what type of information you want to capture, you want to start. So in this case, I want to be able to capture the sales team. So I'll go ahead and add their names into the table. Then the second tab, if you click on it, you can see that you can change the name. So we just change it from tags to company. And then if you click out of that, then you can start adding your attributes. So in this case, we'll change that to Future Labs as a company name. Then we want to go ahead and change the type of column it is. So we'll change that to a text. So every field in this column is a text field. Now we'll swap over to the next column. So we want this to be able to be a select drop-down list. We'll go ahead and change the column name to be status, and then when we start typing this out, you can see it gives you the option to create or sort of save that option. And in this case, we want to be able to delete that as well. So we'll create that closed, and then what you can do is you can go and just select the option that you want rather than typing it up and again. If you click the plus icon, it creates another column. We'll go ahead and name this priority, and in the text field we'll change this to a select as well, and we'll go ahead and add some priorities for our sales team. So we'll create low, medium, and high. So in this case, Mary is going to have the same priority as Kim, so we've selected that. So we'll go ahead and add another column. So let's go ahead and click the plus icon. Then we'll change this to a number field, and then change the column heading to estimated value. And now we'll start typing in the value of that particular sales contract. But what we want to be able to do is show that as pound sterling. So we'll click on the format and then be able to select the pound. So as you can see, it's now formatted that as a sterling amount, and we'll go ahead and populate that for all the other ones. And just like any other table in Excel, you can easily resize the column width to suit your needs. Okay, so sticking with the database feature, we're now going to transform the simple table into a different view, and you do that by simply clicking on the Add View, and then we have a selection of views that we can create. So the first one we're going to do here is click on the board view. So as you can see, it's magically transformed that table into a Kanban view, which you can easily drag and drop the boxes from one status to the other. You can change the count and what is displayed at the top of the Kanban view. So in this case, we're going to change that to be the sum of the estimated value. So as you can see, if we're using this as a sales CRM, then there's about £80,000 worth of sales that have been closed. We can easily move that along. We can click on the three dots, and that gives you the option to delete, duplicate, and do a number of other things as well. So we're going to go ahead and create another view from the same table, and we're going to convert that into a list view, because I've just realized that you can't do the timeline or the calendar view without having a date field in the table. So let's just go through the list field first. So as you can see, it's the same data set. So that's the 4 colleagues that we had. So we've got the sales team names in there. We can see that list there. We can also turn it into a gallery view. Obviously, I haven't added any photos in here, but if we did, then we could see that. So it's quite good in terms of visualizing the data set again. So we'll go back to our table view now. And what I'm going to do is I'm going to create another column on the right hand side. That's actually the date column. And you'll see that once we've added that in, that opens up another 2 types of database tables we can create. And we'll go through that. So let me quickly add the dates in there. And whilst we're doing that, we can actually go through the reminder field as well. So as you can see, you can just add a date in there without setting a reminder, but if you want to, you can select a date and then click on the reminder, click in the drop down, and then you can get a reminder on the day of the event, which is really powerful because that's really bringing in the reminder functionality that you see in other productivity apps. Okay, so now that we've got the date in there, we're going to go ahead and select the timeline view. This is a new feature in Notion. It's actually extremely powerful because again, it allows you to visualize the same data set in a really powerful way. And again, it'll depend on the use case and how you want to be able to display the data. But at least you've got the option of doing that. So the next thing we're going to create is we're going to create a calendar using the same data set. So again, you can see all the same data fields within the dates that we set them at. Click in them and you get all the same piece of data in there. So the key takeaway is that the databases are so flexible and versatile. So that was a very high level view on each of those database views. If you're interested in finding out more and learning more of the advanced stuff, then I'll link a video in the description below where I go through each of those views in a lot more detail and use cases as well. So the next concept we need to understand is that everything in Notion is actually a block, whether that be a picture, map, list, titles, Kanban views, databases, everything is built off a basic concept of a block. So in this case, again, we've selected the / and then gone into the image, and then we're able to search for any of the free photos that are available from Unsplash. This again is really useful because you don't always have to have your own photo. You can just find a relevant photo from the free library and be able to just quickly put it into the page that you want. Okay, so in this case, we're going to now create another text box on the right hand side of the image. So we're going to create the text box and I'm going to drag it to the right hand side so it creates that second column, and Notion will resize the image for you automatically. So again, just sort of carry on that theme of showing you that everything in Notion is a block. We've just created a divider. Now we're going to go ahead and create another heading. So we'll go through some travel plans. Next, we're going to be selecting the toggle block. And then we're just going to add some text in there. And now we're going to select the Google Maps. So well done for making it this far. Now I'm going to be going through the bonus features that I talked about. So let's say you were browsing the internet and you were really interested in reading this page, but you didn't have the time. So what you can do is actually use the Notion web clipper functionality and be able to just click on the icon, and then it allows you to be able to add that page into whichever page you want in Notion and the workspace you're working in. So in this case, we're quite interested in the relations and roll-ups page, so we can actually change the name if we wanted to. So let's go ahead and do that in this case. And once we've done that, we can click on Save Page, and then it actually allows you to open up Notion there and then. So if we do that, then it will take us into our Notion, and as you can see, it's not only created a link for the page, but it's actually imported the entire contents of the page or the web page in the Notion. So you don't even need to go back to the original source if you didn't want to. And it's actually imported that exactly where we wanted it to. So that's within the Getting Started with Notion page. And if we scroll down, you should see a block created with the same name that we marked it as. And if you click on that, it takes you back to that page. So that's an extremely powerful and really productive feature of Notion, where all those times where you really wanted to be able to read something but you just don't have the time but you want to be able to, you can actually file it in your Notion so you can go back and read it, or you can just simply click on a link and be able to take yourself back to it. And that concludes this tutorial. Thank you so much for watching. If you liked it, give it a thumbs up. And if you got any questions, put it in the comments and I'll do my best to answer the questions. Thank you.